very honored to be speaking on behalf of my fellow classmates. I want to start off with some words of appreciation. In other words, I am about to say the phrase, thank you to extinction. Brace yourselves. After all, it is the day of gratifying celebrations to show gratitude. Did you get that? First and foremost, I want to thank my parents for all that they have done for me, for waking up at the dreadful 6 a.m. each morning to bring me to school, for paying all of the hefty bills that accompany high school and especially senior year, for suggesting that I just enjoy a movie the night before a major assessment, and for acting as my sideline cheerleader since the very beginning. This list could go on for pages, but for the sake of brevity and your sanity, I will stop here. Next, I would like to thank my siblings, especially my sister. I don't know whether it's appropriate to say thank you or sorry here, actually. So thank you, or sorry, for the times when our room felt like an overwhelmingly complex maze that you just couldn't figure out, with books and papers and lots more galore. Thank you, too, to my extended family, and especially my grandparents, Teta and Cito, for your endless words of encouragement and abounding support cushions. Shukran, Teta, Cito, Allah khalikum. Thank you to my teachers for emphasizing that there are things far more important than a mathematical equation or a physics concept, a vocabulary definition, a plump 100% at the top of a page. In calculus, I learned a little bit of Swahili. In English, about food and technology and finance and everything in between. In Spanish, about the pivotal role that immigration has played and continues to play in this country. Miss Harney with the spunky in chemistry. Miss Cottrera, the sweet in government. Miss Mortellero, the fun in history. Miss Walker, the passionate in English. Mr. Walters, the happy in calculus. And I definitely won't ever forget Mr. Walters' mantra, it is hard but not impossible, which will undoubtedly help me jump over any obstruction or hurdle that comes my way. Thank you to the custodial staff who kept Ursuline nice and tidy, both figuratively and literally. Thank you to those who were there anytime a computer or smartboard stopped working. Thank you to those who were always ready to repair a broken heater or doorknob. Thank you to Miss Cora in the office, who eventually got so accustomed to me asking to use the office phone to call my mom that eventually, anytime I walked into the office, without me even having had the time to exhale, would yell out, "Yeah, you can use the phone." Okay, yes, for my first few years in high school, I would call my mom during lunch. Thank you, Mom, by the way, for answering all those daily routine calls. Side anecdote, as I absent-mindedly scrolled down the list of revisions, additions, and omissions to the handbook last summer, there I saw it. Students can only use the office phone in case of emergency. Moreover, phone calls should not exceed 2 minutes. For a while, I thought I was a catalyst for that rule. Actually, I still do believe that. Maybe it's just a figment of my imagination. It tickles me anyway to think that my legacy will forever be engraved in the depths of the grand Ursuline Academy handbook. What an honor. Thank you to Miss Bell, Miss Bainsfather, Miss Mortellero, and Miss Moore, as well as the Academy sisters, for committing ample time to the success of the school and the students within it. And thank you to anyone else I may be inadvertently forgetting to mention. And last but most certainly not least, thank you to my fellow graduates for making high school everything I thought it would be and more. We can say goodbye to the daily ritual of the 8 a.m. sprint to our seats, the tricky lunchroom politics, and the sleepless nights. Well, maybe. We are now at the summit of our youths. Let's take a big, deep breath and hold it in. We won't be here long. After all, there's not a lot of oxygen at such high altitudes. Let's enjoy the accolades from both friends and family, embrace all the cheek-pinching our rosy cheeks can afford, and take full stock of every kind sentiment we are offered, because if the so-called real world is as daunting as I hear it is, this is the best we're going to get. Apparently, it's all downhill from here. Of course, I'm kidding. Right now, our futures are like the blank, white, pristine Microsoft documents that stayed open for hours as we tried so desperately to conjure up just an introduction. Oh, or at least the first sentence of the paper due tomorrow, or better yet, next class. In other words, our futures are empty canvases waiting for us to paint our own destinies. We will all choose different colors, different shades, different patterns. Some of us might even opt out of the predictability of a pattern and choose instead something more bold, more daring. By the end, we will end up with masterpieces that might find us in a clinic treating an elderly woman, in a classroom satiating the curiosities of eager children, in a committee room in the heart of DC crafting legislation, in a protest actively working for a cause, in a home working to make our children's lives even better than our own, or in a country halfway around the world trying hard to make the liberties we take for granted here the prized possessions of another elsewhere. None of these is better than the other. In their own right, they are all beautiful options. They portray quite seamlessly the diversity of talent, interest, and personality that this class prides itself on. Some of us will be carrying out our journeys just a drive away from Canada, others just a minute or two away from here. We will be stretching out as far as Massachusetts, as close as Florida and Georgia and Alabama, as middle way as Washington, D.C. We will leave the comfort and security of familiar places and faces. It will be a perfectly integrated combination of scary and exciting, happy and sad, nostalgic and novel. May we soak in both the yin and the yang of the experience, and always remember to put the star in starting over, to keep the win and win some, lose some. I know that when times get low, our humor will help us keep our backs straight and our heads high, as it has during our time here. We've had our ups and we've had our fair share of downs. But during our downs, we always maintained our sense of humor. Our humor ranges from the lightheartedness of Lita, to the blatant sarcasm of Hannah Rose, to the outright comedy of Krista. Truly, with an outlook and perspective so refreshing, we are well equipped for the future, ready for an impediment as small as an erasable blotch, or as big as a monstrous Goliath. We can use it as a means of defense, and we can use it to garner much-needed laughter, even adoration. After all, who doesn't love humor? No one I know. I will now defer to comedy expert Stephen Colbert, who once said in an interview, "Not living in fear is a great gift, because certainly these days we do it so much. And do you know what I like about comedy? You can't laugh and be afraid at the same time, of anything. If you're laughing, I defy you to be afraid." There are lots of things our generation has to be afraid of: war, climate change, injustice, just to name a few. But with a tool belt of a few jokes, a smile here and there and everywhere, and of course a little sprinkle of love, we can fight and overcome that fear. That's not to say that we should sit idly by and just laugh as these horrible things resume. And that brings me to an original poem which I titled Interlinking Fingers. Hands learn more than minds do. Hands learn how to hold pencils and mode poetry, how to turn a page, how to dribble a basketball and hit a volleyball, how to tickle pianos, how to embrace old people and cradle babies, how to hold another hand. They are the maps, the GPSs, and the compasses with which we navigate the world. Kids, they give each other high five, but adults, we learn how to shake hands. You need a firm handshake, but don't hold on too tight, but don't let go too soon, but don't hold on for too long. But hands are not about politics. When did it become so complicated? Some people read palms to tell your future, but I read hands to tell your past. Each scar marks a red badge of courage, a scarlet letter, a story untold but worth telling. Each bruise a struggle, a financial struggle, an emotional struggle, 10 years in a sweatshop. Each cracked knuckle, a missed target, a missed punch, an effort not amounted to gold nor silver, not even bronze. For so long, I've seen Middle Eastern hands clenched and Middle Eastern fists beating against each other like war drums. But underneath those big, bad fists are only fingers. And fingers can interlink like a beautiful puzzle of prayer, like a beautiful zipper of mended justice, a beautiful mosaic of positive change. So, let us go out, prepared with our first aid kit of fun and laughs, ready to use our hands to do things both big and small, ready to fix things both big and small. Thank you.